to Atlanta, but in other cities yet.
Porsha, you look like you have something to say.
You know, you've stated everything about the guy except for showing him. And it's just very clear that there is no African prince for you. There never was. You never met the guy. You never talked to the guy. You just recently tried to pay somebody to be on the show. About $15,000, a singer, African-Nigerian singer.
Okay, that's it. First of all, excuse me, I'm talking now.
Anyway,
that's not true. First of all, she's talking about
to pay someone.
That's something that is a story that originated from media takeout.
It's not a story.
I know a person named Devon, and I've done many appearances from him. Excuse me, I'm talking.
If that touches me, I'm going up your ass, bitch.
Please shut up. You do not have the right to talk.
Bitch, don't point this at me.
Wait a minute now.
Don't point that at me. That's right. Don't point your at me. I'm not playing with you.
You need to be quiet.
Like I said, I know the guy who...
What the hell is that for?
I know the guy who actually... Are we bringing props now?
Yes, we're bringing props because clearly...
If you blow that over here, it's going to be a real problem on this
batteries.
Yes, it is.
Your props, you got to at least have them together now. I know, right?
Well, you
can't be trying to put it together in front of everybody.
When you get ready to talk with adults...
What I will not do is have you talk over me, okay? So as I was saying,
the person that you're gonna let her talk about, Andy, is a singer named Devon.
You appreciate that all up in your ear like that?
So anyway, the person that she's talking about is a friend that I've done appearances with. We even joked about it on Twitter that, you know, media came out with some ridiculous story. So that's just simply not true.
Okay.
His mother actually called a friend of mine.
I'm not going to be
and told her.
Lied on.
Anyway, his mother called a friend of mine and told her that she had approached him to be on the show.
That's completely
He actually has a long, this particular guy has a long-term girlfriend, and she did not appreciate you approaching her boyfriend for another fake Walter. Another fake Walter.
I feel bad for your little scepter sitting over there.
Don't feel bad for her, because if it's crossed back on this stage, it's going up her ass. Right between them balloons, baby. Don't point no daggone scepter at me.
I would like Porsha to spell scepter. So. We'll wait.
Breath smell like a septic tank, bitch.
Oh, my God.
Jesus.
Oh, y'all so funny.
I care. It's just that we're on the show, and as people watch the show, they do come to us separately and try to tell us things. And for me, that's one of the things that has come to me. She has spoken about me in public, on the show, doing other shows, anytime she does press. So I feel like I have the right to speak about what has come to me about her and tell her and call her out on her life like she tried to call me out.
Trying to have a baby, not being married, then you know what? It comes full circle sometimes.
Porsha,
that is what I'm saying.
Porsha, do you think karma bit you in the butt?
How could I call something so unfortunate to happen to someone who didn't deserve it karma? So, of course, it's not karma. But what I do get sick of is grown women sitting up, playing the damn victim. And you have been the villain since day one. You have laughed at me and Phaedra and any other woman on the sofa who you felt threatened by from the very beginning. And then now you're the victim. That's really confusing to me. And that's ridiculous, and it's irritating.
Response to that?
You know, I've talked to you, Porsha. I've said to you, I feel like a big sister to you. I feel like you're doing exactly what I did. I feel like Cordell is a lot like Greg was. But to be honest, you know, I'm gonna have to stand by what I said. When we were in Vegas, I felt like he was telling you not to go. I just wanted it to be your decision and not Cordell's decision. And I don't think anybody sitting on this stage can say that they watched the show and they feel like Cordell is a supportive husband. Now you can say it's editing. I mean, I'm saying that he could be supportive. Porsha, I'm just saying when we watched the show.
I know. But let me tell you how it is. See, that's the thing. No one has asked me. I've only received your opinions on me. No one has asked me what's going on with my relationship and how I actually feel. My husband loves me to the core.
And I don't doubt
I love him so much. But what I have to do as a wife is consider my husband, because I'm a housewife. And I just feel like you ladies should uplift a young wife in a young marriage.
Let me tell you, like I told Kim, this is not the show to come on and expect these ladies to lift you up. The only support you might get is somebody die. Then everybody might come and send a flower. But other than that, you could be going through anything, and you're not going to get that kind of support.
Well, that is so
but you watched the show. You were a fan. You watched the show, so did you see everybody supporting
But let me tell you something. When I met you ladies, you were genuine to me. Everyone except for Kenya. All of you all had a whole other personality from what I had gotten. I thought you were going to be this big bad wolf and like not like me. And in turn, I met you. You were so nurturing. Maybe after I've done this shows a couple seasons, I won't give a damn either. But for right now, I'm a wife, and I'm trying to figure out things in my marriage. I'm not perfect. Cordell is not perfect by far, but he's my husband. I married him, and we took an oath in front of everyone. And to me, I'm going to represent that to the world to the fullest. I'm not fake. I don't come around trying to just do this, do that, say that, put on no show for y'all. I'm Porsha. So all I'm saying is that I just want more from my relationships from you all. I want to be strong like you. I want to have a career as well. I want to have my children, okay, that I take care of, and they know mommy's going to be home. You know, Cordell, no, I'm going to cook his meals. When you're a wife, you gotta have your own independence. And that's what I saw in you, Cynthia, even you, Kenya. I saw this in you all. You have your own independence, and that's beautiful. That's all I want for me and Cordell. And I just want you all to just break down a little of the TV wall and see that we are real people. I don't force my relationship on anybody. Like I said, I love Candy ever since I heard her first music. I didn't force a friendship on her. I loved Kenya all my life. I thought she was so classy, but she was a little bit different when I met her, and we clashed. You all are people who I have admired, and I just would like you all to look at me for who I am and not judge something from the outside, and know that if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you what I really think. And maybe that's what led me to put our relationship, which is kind of crazy as hell, like we going through some serious stuff, and we put it on TV. But some kind of way, I think it was so we can bring some real situations to the TV so people can see that, yeah, my life is beautiful. I don't work. I live well. My husband buys me gifts all the time. But guess what? I want more for myself. I want more for my family. And that's all I'm doing, okay?
Hey guys, we're going to have a conversation about Porsha Williams. She has been a Real Housewife of Atlanta for several seasons now, and she is still one of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She began in the 5th season in 2012 when she was married to Cordell Stewart. So at the time she was known as Porsha Stewart. She has gone through pretty much a good change and metamorphosis. Hopefully, it definitely looks that way. Because when she began on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was pretty much known as one of the real housewives in reality, because we all know that a lot of these housewives are not even actually housewives, and some of them aren't even married. So the show's name, The Real Housewives, really didn't have much meaning anymore. But for her to actually be a housewife who didn't work, who was married to someone who was pretty well known and prominent and wealthy and be well taken care of, that was something that was not really common on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. But after the 1st season, they got divorced, and that was filmed and pretty devastating and a bit embarrassing for her on the 6th season, which was her 2nd season on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So you heard some of the clips from some of the seasons of her being on the show and the reunions. She seemed to be a pretty genuine person, and in a lot of ways, a lot of her naivete seemed to be pretty genuine as well.
Well, there has to be an opening for the railroad at some point, because somebody's driving the train. It's not electric like what we have now.
It wasn't a train, baby.
Because when she would make comments about the Underground Railroad and 265 days a year, as if a year only has 265 days.
You know what I mean? This is 265 days a year.
It was what she really believed. It wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was what she really believed. And so some people thought of her as, you know, a black blonde. Because a lot of times the blonde persona is kind of given to people like they're airheads and they don't know much. They're just a pretty face, but there's not much that lies underneath. But she's definitely gone through a metamorphosis, because she's gone from being the housewife to being one who is, you know, she's speaking up for herself. She's not going to take any crap. Her and Kenya Moore have gone through.
Next time don't Google me, honey. Google me. From Google when? Me. It's not even in the search engine. Yeah. It's so old. Yeah.
There are ups and downs, and she's even gone through it with a number of other housewives. She's gotten into it with Cynthia Bailey. Physically, she definitely had the blow up with Candy Burris Tucker. That was something that got.
You can stop cursing at me too, Candy. I don't know why you're so damn aggressive with me right now.
Because you're the one talking to me. I wasn't even talking to you crazy.
What I said was,
you the one. You.
Phaedra expelled from the show, never to be seen again, with some allegations that Candy said could have caused her career if people thought that what she was being accused of by Candy and Phaedra were things that she was really doing. And I'm not going to go into all those details, but she went from, you know, being this housewife to being known as what she called herself on one of the seasons, I believe it was season 7, a THOT. She was definitely dressing more scantily clad. She had some physical procedures done to enhance different areas of her body, to doing a lingerie line, and definitely posing on her Instagram account, and, you know, just being one of those people that becomes a quote-unquote influencer by just being a pretty face and showing off the body on the internet. But her grandfather, Hosea Williams, he was a civil rights activist, very prominent civil rights activist. And he was an ordained minister, philanthropist, politician, and he was definitely well known for being alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his inner circle. So for somebody who is well known, like her grandfather, as being a civil rights activist and a leader, to her status as being known as someone who really doesn't know a lot, she's just a pretty face, but there's not really much that lies underneath, to where she is right now. She is moving forward with a lot of the things in this Black Lives Matter movement, where she has definitely led a lot of local protests in Atlanta, and she's even traveled to be a part of a protest regarding Breonna Taylor, where she was arrested and charged, and I believe those charges have since been dropped, but she was facing up to 5 years in prison, a felony, for her role in the protest regarding Breonna Taylor. But she was one among many who were arrested, and she's spoken up about this movement to see that charges against the officers in the Breonna Taylor situation are held accountable. And she was interviewed on MSNBC. I'm going to play a part of that interview, and I'll let you hear it from her directly.
All right, developing news in the investigation into Breonna Taylor's killing by police. New today, the Louisville mayor will be investigated for his handling of the case. The Louisville City Council releasing a press release saying that they will be investigating, quote, the action and inaction of the Fisher administration. This news coming a month after attorneys for Breonna Taylor's family accused the mayor and the police department of withholding information to cover up the truth. This week marks 4 months since she was fatally shot inside her own home 8 times after police used a no-knock warrant to gain access to her apartment. And there have been 0 charges. 1 officer, though, has been fired from the police department. Protesters continue to fill the streets in Louisville, Kentucky, in fact, marching for racial justice, not just there, but across the country, all of them demanding charges in the case of Breonna Taylor. Hundreds gathered at the Attorney General's house in Louisville demanding action. 87 of those protesters, believe it or not, were charged with disorderly conduct and trespassing. One of those arrested protesters joins me now, Porsha Williams, star of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Porsha, great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, yeah, tell me a little bit about your decision to join the protest and subsequently your arrest and release.
Well, I decided to join the protest because just like many Americans, feel it's just a complete injustice for it to now be 125 days that we are waiting on justice for precious Breonna Taylor's life. And for me, love is an action word. So I can't just sit at home, post on Instagram, etc., and feel like I'm doing something to help this push forward. This entire situation needs to be escalated to the next level. And for me, whatever it takes to make that happen, I will happily be a part of that. I happily sacrifice myself in my freedom in that moment to raise awareness for Breonna Taylor. Just because it's not in the media, just because, you're not seeing it on social media as much as you were before, her life matters more than ever now. If we don't seek justice for her, if she never receives justice, that's an injustice to all of us, African Americans, all humans. So at this point, I'm infuriated. I actually would love this to go to the Supreme Court. I don't believe that Louisville is investigating this properly. It's completely botched. And so I am definitely here to use my voice, my platform, my very body and being to seek justice for this beautiful African-American queen.
Tell me a little bit about the experience that you had with Breonna Taylor's mother, a woman who I've had a chance to speak with on the air here. I know that you posted about spending some time with her. Talk to us about that experience, what you told her, what she told you.
Breonna Taylor's mother is a very strong spirit. I only was able to meet her briefly. She actually sat outside of the jail and waited on all of Until Freedom, the organization I was with, until we got out. And when we got out and I gave her a hug, I could feel her strength. I could feel her being thankful that we were out there trying to give her daughter a voice, making sure her case gets the justice, making sure that these cops are being arrested for the murder. She is a very strong person and I admire her, and I definitely want to, admonish everybody to continue to pray for her, and hopefully I'll be able to have other conversation with her in order to bring more light to Breonna Taylor's case.
Porsha, tell us a little bit about what you plan to do now for this case. Obviously, you said love is an action word. You went to those protests. Protesters were arrested. But where do you see the public pressure campaign against officials in Louisville for some kind of action against these police officers?
I do think it's a start in that they're investigating Greg Fisher. I think that it is incredibly negligent for any of them to be able to lie down comfortably and sleep in their homes while Breonna Taylor wasn't afforded that right. And nothing has been done. When we were actually jailed, there was a statement put out by their Attorney General, Daniel, basically saying he's been investigating, etc. We all know from the facts that have been put out here in the public that this investigation was completely
So it has to be escalated to the next place. The number one concern for me is the fact that they're investigating themselves. That cannot be the place. That cannot take place at this moment. Me just being in their precinct, they're all friends. They're buddies. So if you listen to the investigation tapes as the interviewer is interviewing the police officers, she's actually putting words in their mouth. That's a known tactic to help their own. And, you know, this is the good old boys club. We are at this moment in Black Lives Matter trying to dismantle white supremacy within our police system and the entire system. So yes, we absolutely need an outside group to come in and investigate this. They cannot police themselves.
Yeah, so just to pick up on that, you don't believe that the officials in Kentucky, in Louisville right now, could credibly investigate what happened to Breonna Taylor? You think, at least from what you've seen and learned so far about this case, there is some kind of, not maybe intentionally or not, but a cover-up of what actually happened?
There's absolutely a cover-up. When you turn around and you create Breonna's law banning no-knock warrants, but yet the cops are lying and saying that they actually did alert her when they entered into her home, that is not true. They actually said that they thought drugs were being mailed to her home. Well, but there is a complete statement from their mailing system who actually said that that is not true. They have not had anything being shipped to her house, you know, in such a number that they felt they needed to alert anybody. So there are so many different things that are wrong in this case and so many different levels of cover up that we as a people demand that there be an outside investigation. I personally demand that the Supreme Court please step in and create justice. Listen, if she does not get justice, you have to know that the unrest that we are living in now is only going to get worse. And I do believe that our country wants to. I would pray that they would want to make sure that everybody feels like equal humans on this earth. The fight against racism is not just against black or white. We're fighting for humanity. People are out here being treated as if they're not even human. So if anybody loves America, if you love your fellow brother and sister, no matter the color, I would ask you to use your voice to help push this case to the next level for Breonna Taylor.
All right, well, you heard the interview, and I definitely feel that she's going in the right direction in terms of trying to change her persona to grow, because I think it's cool for people to have fun, and she obviously was in a marriage that I guess she wasn't extremely happy in when she was married to Cordell Stewart, and he seemed to be extremely controlling, almost to the point where it was like he was treating her like she was his child and he was her father. So it's almost like a rebellious spirit, or a child that was so consumed by authority and rules and regulations that once they got the freedom, then they just decided to take the reins of their life and, you know, act like Janet Jackson. You know, I'm in control, I do what I want to do, and do whatever. And Porsha was definitely doing it, although she has created some businesses. I believe she has a hairline, and she also has the lingerie or underwear line. I don't know if she still has that or she's still even promoting it, but to go in this direction, it's a bit of a redeeming quality for her based on her explanations of the Underground Railroad before, and, you know, and other things that she has said that just made her come across as not having much knowledge and, you know, being a bit of an airhead. And when she called herself a THOT and said that she's very thoughtful, this is something that she said in an episode from, you know, season 7, I believe they were in Puerto Rico. It was like that was the life that she was trying to live. So maybe this time in history, this time that we're going through in life, it's an awakening for her. And just also, she has a child now. Before, she wasn't a mother, she wasn't a parent. She's not married yet. I believe she's engaged. I'm not sure what the situation is with that relationship at this point, but I don't know, maybe her becoming a mother has awakened something in her as well, for her to make some changes in her life and just be a bit more thoughtful, THOUGHTFUL versus THOTFUL, and be about something bigger than herself, because the platform that she has and the lifestyle that she has been granted is something that a lot of people in life will never be able to get. So the fact that she's standing for something like justice in the Breonna Taylor situation, I think is amazing. And hopefully she will continue to press forward and use her platform and use her voice for something greater than just being a Real Housewife of Atlanta. So you guys, let me know your thoughts on this situation, your thoughts on Porsha Williams, and how she's making a stand in this situation in time. And hopefully it looks like this is something real and it's not just a storyline for the next season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I'm quite sure that they will probably be filming some of this for the show, because hey, it's definitely going to get them the ratings that the show and the network wants to rake in, because that brings in the money. So guys, thanks so much for joining me for this podversation. You can support the channel by clicking the links in the description box. And I am the Minister of Beauty, thanking you so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I share the Bible. That's business, inspiration, beauty, life, and enjoyment. Until next time, have an amazingly blessed and beautiful day.